So this comment was left on one of my videos, and it says, the objective is to have police checkpoints and stop vehicles being used in inner cities. Only the elite will be allowed to use them, and deliveries during certain hours. We the masses, aka the slaves, will be on bicycles. Now whilst he's not far wrong, if you look at things like the Westminster car attack, the reaction that followed was that they put up yellow gates to effectively make everybody walk single file, and the argument was it obviously controls the people, but it also stops cars from driving down the pavements. And I've come across a particular channel, a guy called Matty D, and he's got a section on there where he's showing that a city transport official is trying to argue for an upgrade of their streets in order to have a look at the pavements to see if anything can be done to avoid cars hitting pedestrians. Now whilst under normal circumstances it seems like a common sense thing to ask for, but from our point of view, especially when it's so close to this particular incident, it almost sounds like a bit of foreknowledge. So here's the clip so you can see what I mean, and then we'll go into a little more detail after that.
Yadanis Rodriguez wants DOT to address overcrowding on some of the city's most cramped sidewalks. The bill introduced this week would require DOT to identify 10 locations with the heaviest pedestrian traffic volumes and develop strategies for improving safety and traffic flow at such locations. Remember, this article is September 2016. Speaking with Gothamist, Rodriguez spokesperson Russell Murphy identified 7th and 8th Avenues in the vicinity of Penn Station and Times Square as areas in need of upgrades. New York, May 9th. All right. Pedestrian safety is the focus of city council bills on crowded sidewalks, dangerous intersections. And again, talking about the 10 locations with heaviest pedestrian traffic. All right. They want to pass 2 bills related to pedestrian safety on Wednesday. We can and should do more to keep our residents and visitors safe on our streets, and street design is the first place to start, said who? Yadanis Rodriguez. DOT to explore the feasibility of installing Barnes Dance crossings at intersections where motorists are more likely to strike people walking.
So this picture here was taken in January 2017, and the reason why I'm showing it is that if you actually go on Google Maps to look at this street and sort of follow the path of where the car went on this one, you'll find that the most recent pictures are in fact showing construction works, and the reason is because what they've done is they've widened the pavement so that it makes everything more spaced out. Now what I've yet to get my head around is those articles that the fella's talking about are all sort of around the September 2016 time, yet the Google Maps are showing the construction works already underway. So here you can see it for yourself, and I just wanted to show it. So the only thing you can do is go on the little timestamp thing, turn it to a different year where it shows that the construction's not underway, and then we can carry out the exercise from there. So as you can see, the pavement is in fact more narrow, and it makes me think, I mean, it depends on how much you want to look into this. I mean, the road looks in pretty rough shape anyway, so maybe they were just doing reinstatement work that would tidy the road up just in general, or did they make this pavement wider for the benefit of tourists? You know, more space for people walking, more people can visit and get to shops easy enough and spend money? Or is it more sinister than that, and a car is able to get onto a wider pavement because it's easier? So we're going to follow the same direction as to where the car went. I mean, I'm not going to pinpoint every person that was in the CCTV, but what the point I want to sort of make with this is that they've widened the pavement so the car has been able to drive up it. And I think if the pavement was as narrow as it is that you can see here, he would have hit more than 20 people. He would have hit up to 100 more easily, and eventually by the time he gets to the bollards, you know, it's just absolutely mud because it's the centre of Times Square. The thing is, what you're looking at now doesn't resemble anything as to what the location looked like at the time, but this is in fact the right place. The scaffolding was on the corner just there, and where this green bit is where the bollards were that he ended up crashing into. So this fella here is Thomas Henry, and the car effectively landed on his head when it hit the bollard and flipped over. He was out the hospital the next day, and he's pushing for these bollards. So here's the clip just to refresh your memory, and then we'll listen to what he's got to say. Oh, by the way, he's the guy in the red shirt, the furthest one on the left, just next to that lamppost there.
I did not go to 42nd Street to be hit by a car maliciously. I was enjoying my rights of freedom.
Bill, not only did Thomas Henry survive this accident, he walked away out of the hospital 24 hours afterwards. He's sitting up, he's talking, and can walk with a cane. And he's trying to remember the details of what happened to him yesterday afternoon.
I did not know that I was hit and I was under the car.
Just to the right of Richard Rojas is a 72-year-old man in a red shirt underneath a Honda Accord.
Since the car hit me, I went blank. I lost consciousness. And they pulled me out, the family that was with me pulled me out with one hand.
Surveillance video from Times Square Thursday afternoon shows the red Honda mowing over pedestrians for 3 blocks.
But still, this image of this car bouncing like this coming down.
The retired MTA employee says he doesn't remember 18-year-old Alyssa Elsman or Richard Rojas, even though Rojas is pictured just a few feet away from him.
I blame him partially. He was in war for this country. He's mentally disabled. He is supposed to be protected.
Instead, Thomas believes these concrete stanchions placed in Times Square overnight should have been there long before Rojas allegedly drove through the crowd.
Now that what happened there ain't supposed to happen. They put fancy lights, fancy things to attract the crowd, and they left the whole area open for the things they know is happening all over the world.
Now, Thomas is home resting. He is retired, so this does not put him out of work, but he does have some recovery to go, the bruising on his head, his eye, and his leg. And he also wants to know if the city is going to be responsible for his medical bills, since he believes they should have protected him from what happened yesterday.
Meanwhile, today, new concrete barriers are now up along 7th Avenue as calls increase for more security upgrades.
So you can see how it works. The event has occurred, and then they've put these white bollards there, and when they've got people like Thomas Henry saying that he's blaming the city for not looking after him, it enforces that need that people need their government to help them with things, when in actual fact, if this is real, then he's been hit by a car and the person driving the car is at fault, not the city. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the idea that he seems to have a black eye, yet a car effectively landed on his head, or that he managed to be out of hospital after 24 hours. But they said he was a retired MTA, and from looking this one up, it's the government transport department, which, if you can imagine that he's pushing for these barriers. Prior to the accident, the transport city official was pushing for things like that to stop people being run over. You can see how 2 and 2 come together. And as I said before, you know, you think that these accidents are just localised, so this is just happening here. Well, it's not. Like I say, when Westminster happened, they did the same thing there, and I'm sure they're doing it in other countries as well. So anyway, I hope this video is a bit of a different take on what's going on at the moment, and I hope you like my new mic. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.